Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. And who to talk about community more than Deb Milone. She is the president of the Chamber of Commerce in the Hudson Valley. And we've got so much to talk about, so thank you so much for coming on, Deb.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, thanks. So how long have you been president?
Well, I've only been president for like 3 months,
Okay.
but I was executive director. This is going into my 9th year at the Chamber.
Right.
Yeah, so I started in 2010, and I was involved with the Chamber for many years. I was on the board of directors. I was the chairman of the board in 2005 to 2007, and then the opening came, the position was open, and I wanted to make a lifestyle choice. I really love my community work, so I applied for the job, and I left corporate America and applied for this, and actually got it.
Yeah. Well, the Chamber is 100 years old.
Yes, we celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2015.
Yeah.
It was really a great year because I found we went through a lot of old archives, and we found a lot of old pictures. In fact, we put a brochure, a book together that of all the old businesses in and around our communities, and we had a lot of the families of people who own those businesses sponsor the photos. And so now I kind of look at these communities very differently because, the Big Scots was there, and Whalers was there. And so, you kind of see the community differently now because...
Well, you can go on the website.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you go on our website and you go to actually our Facebook page, people can see our 100th anniversary video, which is really, really nice. And it was Bill Powers did it and produced it, and it was just wonderful. It's really a nice testament to the Chamber and to the community of 100 years of business.
Yeah, I was on the website. It's beautiful. I mean, they really did a great job.
Thank you. Our website is hosted by called Chamber Master. Chamber Master is a company that does websites specifically for chambers of commerce and organizations. So they kind of know what we're looking for, and so we went with them about 4 years ago, and it's great. So
yeah, they did an awesome job.
Yeah. And I can send out referrals immediately, and all this. It communicate with all the members through the website. So it's really a great tool. I love it.
Yeah. Now, how many businesses are in the Chamber now?
We have 524 businesses. Whoa. Yeah, I know.
That's excellent.
It's really it's big.
Yeah.
And when I started, there were 324 businesses. So I guess in the last 9 years, we have 200 businesses coming in, and the community's growing too. And there's a lot of emphasis on people coming up from the city. They love this area because of how convenient it is to Manhattan, first of all, and then also the recreation. And then, in fact, you have the beautiful suburbs of Croton and Cortland, but you also have the urban center in Peekskill. Yeah. So the young millennials come up and they love it up here, and they hang out in downtown Peekskill, and they go to the different restaurants and the music and the arts. So it's great.
Well, I grew up in Verplank. I mean, I love Verplank. I love the fact that it's still a small town and that it's has that small town feel. 12 o'clock at night, there's nobody on the streets.
Right.
It's completely dead. To me, I love that. But now, like you said, the city's only an hour away. So all I have to do is hop on a train, and I'm right in the middle of the city that never sleeps.
Yes.
And that is a beautiful...
It's great. This is what I love up here. I lived in Manhattan for a few years myself, and had a great time. And I was young and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But coming back up here, this is my home too. I grew up in Yonkers.
I was going to say,
I grew up in Yonkers. Yonkers girl.
Yeah.
And went from Yonkers to Manhattan, and then Manhattan to Briarcliff Manor. That's where all single girls go when they leave the Manhattan. They go to Briarcliff. Actually, my mom lived there, and I was looking to leave the city, and she says, "Oh, there's this nice little apartment." And I ended up being there for 7 years. And then met my husband, and we got married and lived in Croton for a couple years. And then we bought a house up here in Peekskill. So I've been here for 29 years.
Awesome.
So it's been, bang, bang, bang. But
Well, Peekskill is really coming along now.
Peekskill has definitely, so much has happened in this community, in the Peekskill community over the years I've been here. I've seen so much positive change. I think it started with the rezoning of the downtown for the artist district, and but also you have a lot of, there's the restaurants and the art galleries down there. People are very interested. The young people love it. The young people love it.
Oh, there's no doubt.
So because it's really they have their like a hometown, but they have their nightlife and their recreation that they want. So we had where I live, a young couple just bought across the street from us, and they've been looking in Peekskill. They're from New Jersey. And they decided they wanted Peekskill, and they're so happy here. So it's really, it's a nice town. You know everybody,
So now, step in the chamber. What does it do for businesses?
Well, the chamber is a business organization. We provide a lot of different services, but mostly we advocate for business and concentrate on legislative issues, which I'll go into in a little while. But we also provide events, networking. Networking is really big for the chamber, and I give all my members free advertising, so make sure you send me your events so I can get them on the our e-blast.
Yes, for the Paradise Restaurant.
Yes.
In Verplank.
Yes. All right.
We're allowed to promote today because we are talking about businesses.
You are a member also,
yeah.
and we've had some business after hours down there, and it's always been people always love to go to the Paradise.
Thank you.
As I said, I love your veal parm. That's my favorite.
It's number one item for sure. That's for sure.
But we do that. We also have we do workshops and seminars. And another thing that we do is we have a small business development counselor coming into the chamber every Tuesday. He's hired by New York State, and he will sit down with new businesses or even existing businesses, go over their business plan and work with them on either setting up to open their doors or to expand, to help them find funding.
Yeah.
So we wear so many different hats, and no 2 days are ever the same at the chamber. I mean, we get phone calls. We're tourism and information center. I get calls from all over the country from people wanting to come to the Hudson Valley, so I can get to play, Julie, the cruise director. So I get to do that, and then also we have, believe it or not, we get a lot of European visitors coming into the chamber from Manhattan. They come up here for the day, and people say, "How coming to Peekskill for the day?" Well, because if you go on this website, it's called Time Out, day trips from Manhattan, and hiking, Peekskill's right there. So that's why we get a lot of visitors from Europe, and they come into the chamber and they want to know what's going on, and they take information. So, it's great. So we have people from all over the world.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is a beautiful area. Every time somebody comes, first thing I have to do is bring them to the Croton Dam, And I'm not allowed to talk about the quarry in Verplank, but, I mean, this area is beautiful.
And there's so much history.
The history, exactly.
I mean, I love the history of this area, and I know Verplank, we're doing our membership directory will be coming out in May, but I make it a visitor and information guide too. So we have a whole article on it about Washington and Verplank.
That's right.
Yeah, there's Verplank is very big in the Revolutionary War in Washington, so people can read all about it in our membership directory coming out.
Well, they did a reenactment where they rowed the boat across the Hudson, and George Washington, and it was an incredible event.
It's so cool because I think there's so much history in this area, Revolutionary War. I mean, obviously, about the Lincoln making his only stop in New York State in the Peekskill train station, giving a short speech on his way to his initial inauguration in Washington. But also, too, the amount of, we've had sports heroes, and the most famous person from Verplank is Mel Gibson.
That's right.
Yes.
He only lived there for about a year, but he still lived there.
Yeah, he lived there. And what was his father, Hoot Gibson or something? I know.
My good friend Fred Logg was friends with with Mel's father. So
So they had, yeah, so that's the big, Mill was born here
Yeah.
and grew up here. But so did Pee Wee Herman and Stanley Tucci.
Stanley
We've
Tucci.
had a governor, Elton Brand.
Yep.
I mean, it's, there's so many famous people have come from this area. And,
Yeah.
and also, too, this was like, a very big resort area back around the turn of the century, and a lot of families would come up here, go to the Mohegan colonies or the Croton colonies, and spend their summers up here. So,
well, that's it. There used to be a lot of like those little bungalows that they had, and recently they've been changing them into livable. Especially if they're going to stay there all year round, they need
Well,
to
they
be
had to put some
winterized.
heat.
Yeah, and insulation, and put in a little addition.
Exactly. So, but it's really nice to see the reading all the history, and I know all the historical societies have this great history on all of the areas, and you go to Van Cortlandt Cemetery, and on Oregon Road, and you see you look at I guess people think kind of weird, but you see the graves and going back into the Revolutionary times, and it's just really, I'm very happy to be living here.
Yeah.
They have everything I want.
And someone new to the area, all they have to do is come to the chamber. They can find a place to live. They can find a car. They can find a job. These are all things that sometimes it takes a little work to but you were able to put all this together.
The chamber does have a job board. I wish more people would post on it, but we do have members sending us jobs, so there is a job board on the chamber. But we also we do grand openings, we do ribbon cuttings. We just had our annual awards dinner back about a couple months ago, and every year we honor our own. And this year we had Continental Building Products in Buchanan.
Yeah.
They were our Business of the Year.
Cool.
They're going to be unveiling the largest rooftop solar system in New York State come this spring. They've installed this on top of their plant. And then Hudson, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital was our Quality of Life Award winner. And then we had Jim Witt, who was our Volunteer of the Year, and for everything he's done for this community and Hope for Youth, and it's for his calendars. And then also we had Justin Wingeroth. He owns the Dance Conservatory. He was our young professional. And Sharice Jervis Hill, who was our Chairman's Award winner. So it was a really nice event, and it's always nice to take a moment and thank members who have done so much for their community.
Now, new businesses or existing businesses, how would they join the chamber?
Well, it's easy. You can go on our website, and there's a button that says join. You hit that, and you're in.
Yeah.
All right? But I think that I'd like to find out. Usually we have ambassadors who will get in touch with the new members. At 525 members at this point, it's a lot for me to stay on top of, be communicating with everybody. But I reach out to all new members and, kind of set the expectations, because it's really, what do you want to get out of the Chamber of Commerce? I look at the Chamber, I guess the way to describe a Chamber of Commerce, people say, what does a chamber do? I kind of use the analogy of a union. Members join a union for its leaders to represent them in issues. So that's what the chamber does for our members. We also provide networking, so people can meet each other, and other information that we can hand out. We have a kiosk so they can distribute information. We do free advertising for all our members, as I said that before. But also, we're very involved with legislative issues here on the county level and also in the state level. We're a member of the Business Council of Westchester, and we're also a member of the Business Council of New York State. We were named the Chamber of the Year in 2015.
I heard that. Congratulations.
And then things that we're working on for this year, we joined a coalition with the Westchester Business Council of Westchester, for the public privatization of the Westchester County Airport. So we're involved in that coalition. We're advocating to amend the earned paid sick time law that was just put into effect before the holidays, that will actually go into effect in April, but that will allow any business of 5 employees or more must pay sick time to all their employees who have, I guess, accumulated 80 hours a year. And so we're advocating to kind of increase the number of employees to more than 5 because it's, really hurts the small businesses. I understand why they put this law through. They don't want people going to work sick. Neither do I, but at the same time, it's requiring an all new payroll, dealing with payroll differently and keeping track of all the hours. And you can have a seasonal employee who comes in from college and then they get earned sick leave. So we're looking to, advocate more to amend that. We also have issues with the scaffold law that we're in part of joined a coalition for amending the scaffold law. We're the only state in the country that still has a scaffold law, which employers gives 100% liability for injuries caused on their premises, even if the employee was at fault. The employer is still 100% liable. Okay. So there are things like that, and there's a lot of issues that are coming down to small business that we're very disturbed by. There's becoming more and more mandates on the small business person, and small business, as you know, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, and most of our members are small business members. So we kind of look out for them.
And that's what the Chamber's all about. It's strength in numbers. The networking is huge. Talk about the luncheons that you have.
Well, every month we have a breakfast. It's the first Thursday of the month. This actually in March we're doing a lunch. Martin Ginsburg, who is the founder of Ginsburg Development, who's done a lot of the development area, the communities in our area. He'll be speaking, we usually bring in speakers of business issues, fun things. Like a year ago, we had a gentleman, Bob Moore from the Peekskill Museum, come in and talk about baseball, the history of baseball in Peekskill, and people really liked that program. And Fleischmann's had a big baseball team. In fact, the Peekskill Museum is doing a vintage baseball tournament. Is hosting a vintage baseball tournament. They're hosting one on September 22nd at Peekskill Stadium, and it's so cool because vintage baseball, they play by the rules of the year. So, it's not like modern baseball, so you can have, shorter distances between the bases and the pitcher's mound. The size of the ball is different. How many outs you can have is different. Really? So they play by the rules of that year. That's going to happen on September 22nd. So I'm a big baseball fan. Okay. I'm a Met fan, sorry. Yankee territory. I'm a Met fan.
I was born and raised a Yankee fan. I always say every year I'm not going to watch, and then as soon as it starts, you're watching.
Well, I root for the Yankees too. I root for the Yankees. The only time I don't root for the Yankees is when they're playing the Mets.
I know.
But I like my sports.
Me too.
I like
love
my sports. But I've taken the 2 teams I've taken is the Jets and the Mets. So pity me.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
I know.
Jet fans are neurotic.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of sports, let's talk about the golf outing.
Yeah, we have a golf outing every September. It was named. We renamed it 4 or 5 years ago for Tommy Bertolini, who passed away, and he was a true wonderful member of this community. Gave a lot. Believed in give a lot to sports and the children's into Hendrick Hudson sports and done a lot for the kids. So it's the Tommy Bertolini Scholarship Golf Outing. Awesome. And the money that we raise, the tea signs and things that we sell goes into our scholarship fund. And the Chamber just a few months ago, we finally got our 501c3 designation. So we are now have a separate corporation, and so we are a non-for-profit corporation as well. Wow. So our focus for that will be the scholarships, and we're working on tourism and workforce development, and bringing do some more workforce development in this area. So
So how many scholarships do you give?
We give out a scholarship to each of our serving high schools, one scholarship to a senior at each of our serving high schools, and we have 6.
Yeah.
So we give that out every single year. But we also have our art, the Chamber also has an economic development initiative called Art Industry Media, or AIM, which is really was created to attract more multimedia businesses to our region to set up shop. With the closing of the Indian Point power plants, we thought it was, we had to redefine ourselves and bring new industry here.
Yeah.
So we've been reaching out and attracting new Bantam Tools. Bree Pettis, who was the previous CEO of MakerBot. They made the desktop 3D printers. He bought Bantam Tools, and it's located out in Berkeley, California. So he's relocating his company from Berkeley, California to Peekskill. And that was part of, initiated through our AIM initiative. So we'll be giving money this year. We're donating the minimum of $1,500 to the Peekskill High School robotics program. And for this, so the kids can use for they're like, last year they couldn't go to Chicago to compete because they didn't have the money for transportation. So we're trying to help them out with that.
That's excellent. And, it's going to be a big industry. It already is a big industry.
It is, and we have the perfect space up here between, Cortland and Peekskill has all of this opportunity for, for small business growth. I mean, we're not going to attract an Amazon, okay? But, you're looking at, if you bring businesses in here of, 10, 15 employees, okay, we have that room. Even 1 or 2 employee business for software development, gaming, we have all that space. And as I like to say, going back to baseball, it's the singles and doubles that win the game, not necessarily the home run. So
going back to Tommy Bertolini, I just want to mention that he was a great guy.
He was wonderful.
He is sorely missed. And, all the work he did with kids, and just, you couldn't help loving him, you know what I mean? He was just a real role model, really. And speaking of role models, who do you think was one of your role models?
My role model was my aunt.
Yeah.
Right off the top of my head, my aunt.
Nice.
My Aunt Helen,
okay.
Who is my mom's younger sister.
Right.
And she was, at a time where there was not career women, she went out on her own, her friend. They went out to California, and they ran out of money, and she worked for Max Factor out there. Then she came back here, and she worked for General Motors for like 40 years, and she was, an executive assistant to one of the presidents.
Oh my God.
But to me, it was my role model, because here she went and did her thing. She had a job, she worked in Manhattan, and I wanted to be just like her.
Awesome.
And so she was she was definitely my role model. And I used to watch that show, That Girl. And she had this great apartment in Manhattan, had this career, and I wanted to be like her. Sure. So that was my Aunt Helen. So she was my role model.
Yeah. And growing up when we did, we had to work for everything we got. I mean, my parents had 10 kids. And, they just didn't have the money to dole out. I said I wanted to go skiing. And they said, well, when you have your own money, you can go skiing. So what did you do? You got a job, and you saved your money. And then you went and then I got to go skiing.
Well, that was the same thing as I said before. I've been working since I've been 14 years old, and it's not something that my parents took care of us. But if there was something extra we wanted, we had to buy it ourselves. And but that created a work ethic and a value to what you were buying. So it wasn't just taking something and not having respect for it. It was, you actually earned it, and you paid for it yourself. And when you're 14, 15 years old and you actually buy something that was like, oh, I really wanted, and you feel like you're very proud of yourself that I've worked and this is what I've gotten in return. And
it makes a big difference.
It does.
It really makes you appreciate the value of what you have.
It does.
When you get handed everything, it doesn't mean anything.
You don't have the same respect for it, and so I think that working is having that work ethic. I mean, I like to work.
Me too.
And people say, aren't you going to retire someday? And I'm like, what will I do? I mean, I'm not the type. But this is what would happen. I would go home. I mean, I would retire, and I'd work as many hours, not getting paid as I am getting paid, because I'd have to do something.
Yeah.
I'm not the type
I
of person.
grew up in the restaurant business, so you could work 80 hours and still find something else to do.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I'd like to, downsize a little bit. Yeah, take it a little easier. But I'm always, like my dad, God bless him.
Me too,
my
dad too. Yeah.
He'll be 86 years old.
Wow.
And he's still working. He is a director of engineering for a nursing home in the Bronx.
Well, that's a good job for an old man.
And
That's
he's
good.
still doing all of that. And, like he says, what would I mean, he'd like to take some time off and golf, go down to Florida and golf for the winter.
Yeah.
But he would not, he said, what would I do? I have to do something. And I get it.
Well, it does keep you young. Keeping active, it definitely puts years on your life.
Yeah, and I think that, when someone tells you you can't work, you have to retire, and you don't have that reason to get up. Hey, listen, there's some mornings I go, can I stay in bed? But, it's most of it you feel that you've accomplished something, and what would I do all day?
Yeah. The Hudson Valley Exposition?
Hudson Valley Exposition, yes. It's our big festival.
Yeah.
This year it's on August 3rd.
All right.
It's at Riverfront Green Park. And
Beautiful.
we have about 130 vendors. We have food, a lot of the local restaurants. Maybe I can get Paradise this year.
We'll try, but that's a busy time for us.
So,
we have limited,
but we have, end the day with fireworks and things like that. And we usually get about 5,000 people, so it's great.
The bubble truck comes.
The bubble truck, yes, it's great.
Yeah.
We love the bubble. The kids love the bubble truck because it sits there and just shoots out bubbles, and it's something. There's something about bubbles.
Yeah.
There's something about bubbles.
Everybody loves bubbles.
Then we have music too. This year our music is it's the 50th anniversary of Woodstock.
That's right.
So we have a bunch of Woodstock cover bands coming, so we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Woodstock at the Exposition. And I'm trying to get some tiny houses there for a tiny house expo there.
Yeah.
I bring that in, and got a lot of. It's a really nice day. So last year we got rained out.
Yeah, and what's the date again?
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
Yeah.
At the riverfront.
Yes.
You got to go.
Yes, please.
Okay. Bring the kids, because the bubble
Please.
truck's going to be there.
Yes, and
So,
we do ask for a donation.
That's fine.
But for 18 and older, kids, any kids are free. Okay, and there's a lot of activities for kids. We have Fidelis there. We have all these. We have a nature center coming in from Camp Nabby. Usually, the Hudson River Expeditions comes in with kayaks, and there's so much going on there. Danes is always there with a big, exhibit.
Say hi to Jeff. Hey,
yeah.
Jeff.
So it's always a good day.
Okay.
Hot though,
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, it can be hot in August. Okay, we got 1 minute. So,
Okay.
what any last plugs?
Yeah, I just think that we're here the chamber's here to serve the community. We are a business organization. We're also a community organization.
That's right.
And Lauren and I, we're a 2-person staff, and we really love our job, and we really believe in what a chamber is all about, and urge people to get in touch with us and let us help you. And and one good thing about what I do is, because I've been in this area for so long and selling and everything, I know a lot of people, so I feel like what I can do best is connect.
Yes,
So
that's the key, connections. The
So
bridge
if I don't know
Yeah.
who to send you to,
Okay.
I know who to ask.
to send.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Deb. And I want to thank Chuck Newman for suggesting that Deb come on the show.
Thank you.
So, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Thank you for watching, and go on the website and check out the chamber.
Thanks. Thank you.